Hello, we're going to be reviewing the basics of music notation that includes note naming, solfege, and rhythm reading in this lecture. So just so you're aware, this is going to be more of a flipped classroom style. You're going to be able to access the lecture and video lectures on your OneNote at any time, but I will not be using time in class to lecture because I would rather be there when you're asking questions rather than lecturing to you. So we're going to start with reviewing the basics. We're going to talk about note naming today. The first one, the notes on the staff are A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. So what you need to remember is that they go through the alphabet as so, but then they start over. It doesn't continue on to H, I, and everything else. It just goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then A again and continues. The notes correspond to a pitch. So when you play an A, you're always going to get an A, but they can be in different octaves. So an octave, just for brief information, an octave is when something is split from the higher version of that note. So if it's an A, we're singing the A that's lower and the A that's higher. That's an octave jump. It wouldn't be like an A to a G because that would be a seventh. That's another discussion. So briefly, we're going to talk about the components of the staff. So as you'll see here, this is called the grand staff right here. This is a combination of the treble clef and the bass clef. That's what we call the grand staff. We have on the bass clef, which is this right here. It is located, see the little two dots? In between that is an F. So that line is always F. You can use that as a guide until you're 100% sure on what the notes are there. And as you can see, I provided for you the basics of the bass clef and up into quite a few ledger lines. So the ledger lines actually, little information here. You'll notice here, see this C right here? I'm right on it. That one is where the bass and treble clef meet. So they share C. So this C right here is the same as this C right here. The same with this D and this E. All of these are the same. A is A here, but when we're in something that's primarily treble clef, we prefer to keep it in the treble clef so it makes more sense rather than just throwing another bass clef in there, especially when we're in parts for choir. So this is the treble clef. This is what the majority of our music will be written in, as we have a lot of SSA material and SA material. Female singers sing in this, and a lot of times males also sing in this if they sing tenor. So they will be doing what's called the tenor clef, and you'll just see a little 8 underneath there, and it'll say drop it down an octave. I mean, it's really simple. Basses and baritones tend to read the bass clef. So on our staff, we have 5 lines and 4 spaces. That doesn't matter if we're in the bass clef or the treble clef. And on the treble clef, those spaces are named F, A, C, and E, and the lines are named E, G, B, D, F. You'll hear a variety of ways to refer to these. So face is easy, that's F-A-C-E is face. That's how most people remember it, so they know what the names are of the notes within the spaces. And then usually people will do every good boy does fine, or every good boy deserves fudge for the lines. Typically that's the easiest way to remember it, but you know, eventually you're just going to get so used to doing it that it's very easy for you to just figure out which one is which. The bass clef is a little bit harder because we now take everything that you knew about the treble clef and you move everything down either a space or a line, depending on what it was on. So as you can see, we actually in the bass clef, the spaces are A, C, E, and G, going from bottom to top. And in the bass clef, the lines are G, B, D, F, A. As I said, look at here, we're starting on a G in the lines. Up here we started on an E. So everything shifts down, and that's really one of the easiest ways to remember it. Sometimes we try to make things more complicated than they need to be when we're doing work like this. So that's the basic information you're going to know for note naming. Now, we're going to get further into note values in reading rhythm section. So note duration for rhythm reading. Note duration is the length of time a note's played. So that's the difference between going, I just played 3/4 notes, or, and it's really easy. You'll notice right here, whole note / rest. Whole note's 4 beats. So when we're singing a whole note, instead of dividing the beat, we're just going to go loo. Or if we're resting, we're not going to make any noise for 4 beats. A half note, it'll be like loo. And a quarter note is just loo. Eighth note, loop, because you're half the quarter note. Typically, people tend to use the quarter note as a guide for their division because we usually use time signatures that encompass this. We'll be talking about time signatures in our next lesson. How the notes are divided. This is just important for you to know because ultimately you need to know how many notes goes into something. So our whole note gets 4 straight beats, so we know that it's going to sound like this. Well, within that whole note sound, that 4 beats, we can fit 2 half notes, right? Because half notes are 2 beats each. So, loo, loo. Or we can fit 4 quarter notes. Loo, 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 loo. Or we can fit 8 eighth notes. Are you catching on? Loo, 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 loo. I mean, the division's actually very easy. Until we get to compound time signatures, it won't be a complicated thing for you to learn. And then I'm going to give you also the basic information regarding notes. Now notes, whole rest, whole rest and half rest are kind of complicated because they look very similar. You just flip the bar down or up. So the whole rest is bar down, that's 4 beats. That's just 4 beats of silence. You'd still count. You would just do it silently. Half notes 2, half rest, that's with the bar going up. Quarter rest, that's going to give us 1 beat of silence. That's the squiggly looking line right there. And then I like to call the 8th note rest a twig. And the 16th rest is a twig with an extra branch. And like I said, it divides into something easier. Now before I end this video lecture, we're going to take a look at what is solfege. So solfege is what you'll be using to read sight reading examples, and it will actually aid you in your ability to read them. Now typically what we use is, it's called the Kodai method, in which it encompasses the symbols of the Do scale, which everyone's familiar with because of Do, a deer, a female deer. That's exactly right. And the hand signs for these, which I've posted right here for you, actually correspond with those pitches. So in this case, if we're doing Do, Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do. And it's just that simple, and you can come back down doing the same exact method. It's good to get a hold of these and really get familiar with them ahead of time so that when you see a Do on a scale, you're able to start. So, for example, if maybe we're in the key of C, which you'll learn in the next lesson, we're going to go and we're going to take a look at this and say, okay, there's C. So that's our Do in this case. So we're just going to go Do, then Re is D, Re, then Mi is E, Mi, F is Fa, Fa, G is Sol, Sol, and so on. And then you can come back down, Sol, Fa, Mi, Re, Do. That's just the basic information. We'll work on intervals, key signatures, and time signatures in our next recording.